We tend to stonewall when we feel under threat. Get this, strongly predicts that the marriage is going to end. Stonewalling in a relationship or a marriage is one of the most frustrating, one of the most painful, one of the most debilitating dynamics that a couple can experience. If you're a woman in relationship with a narcissist, with a gaslighting, with a guy that is just difficult, watch to the end of this video. I'm going to walk you through how you can improve the dynamic in the relationship and also how you can transform the relationship, particularly if stonewalling, if you're experiencing stonewalling from your partner. Hey, I'm Dr. Don Russell of the Russell Healing Institute. One of the programs that we offer is called Detox Your Marriage. There's a link below to find out more about this. It is right now transforming women and transforming their marriages, making them better than ever, making them flourish in the relationship. Check out the link below. I want to remind you that I'm a psychotherapist. I've been a therapist for almost 30 years. Helping women, helping individuals improve their lives, but I'm not your therapist. And so take this information as information and education, not as therapy. Let's dig into it. Stonewalling is the abrupt shutting down of dialogue, connection, conversation. Women and men both do it. Sounds a little bit different depending on what gender is doing it. For women, I'm going to say it, for women, it's that fine, okay, right? Where does the conversation go from there? For men, it can be the, I don't want to talk about it anymore, or this conversation is done, typically with a more aggressive flavor to it. But either way, what that stonewalling does is it shuts down the conversation, it shuts down the opportunity for connection, it shuts down the opportunity for conflict resolution, actually reaching a resolution of whatever the topic is, whatever the disagreement is. And that's destructive. John and Julie Gottman of the Gottman Institute have researched couples, successful couples and not so successful couples, and they found that this dynamic called stonewalling is one of the dynamics that, get this, strongly predicts that the marriage is going to end over time. That should just send cold chills through your body if you're doing the stonewalling or if you're the victim of his stonewalling. So what can we do about it? If you are the stonewaller, then recognize that it's destructive, first of all, and recognize that you're feeling under threat and you don't know what to do. Now, that's not a character flaw of yours. That's not that you're dumb or stupid or anything like that. That is because, and this is just what the neuroscience research is clear about, that we tend to stonewall when we feel under threat, real or perceived threat, and that activates the fight, flight, freeze circuit in our mind and body. So our nervous system is hyperactivated, just as if we are hiking in the woods and we encounter a bear on the hiking path, right? That freeze. Well, if that happens, if that's happening for you, then recognize, okay, I'm not able to function in this conversation right now. And so it is appropriate and even wise to give yourself a timeout. Hey, you know what? I'm feeling really upset right now. I need to take a breather from this conversation. I am going to step away and go into the bedroom and close the door and read a book, listen to some music, meditate, and importantly, and I'll come back to you when I'm in a better frame of mind and we'll pick up this conversation. Totally appropriate. Very important for a couple to agree and almost kind of covenant that either of you are allowed to give yourself a timeout. And what that means is that the other person agrees that they're not going to chase you. And we're not done here. We're going to finish this conversation. Totally unhelpful, totally destructive, totally damaging. So really important, the couple agrees, in the calm, cool, collected time, hey, if either of us say, hey, I'm a little too upset to have this conversation, I'm going to take a time out for myself, that's honored and respected. That's just a basic rule of healthy conflict resolution. So if you're the stonewaller, if you've heard yourself say, fine, we're done here, I don't want to talk about it, when it's not fine, right? Then you stonewall and know really clearly that is a predictor of a failing marriage. And change your response. Instead of stonewalling, give yourself a timeout. Let your partner know that you're timing out and you will come back to the conversation. When you do that timeout, very important to use that time to regulate yourself, right? So scrolling on Facebook is probably not the thing to do. Rather, meditating, doing some calm, relaxing breathing is very effective, very efficient to regulate the nervous system. There's a link right there on how to do parasympathetic breathing, and as well shift your mindset from hateful talk in your mind to constructive talk in your mind. Search for 3 things that you're grateful for today. That will change your mindset. So that's what you can do if you are the stonewaller. Now, a little more difficult if you're the victim of stonewalling, if your partner is the one that aggressively shuts down the conversation and doesn't hear you, doesn't listen, doesn't engage with you. Well, what do you do then? Well, you're not actually out of options. You do have options. I want to be clear. If you are on the receiving end of stonewalling, that's a sign that your partner is dysregulated. His frontal cortex is no longer processing information. And the stonewalling is like literally a survival response. I'm not saying there's literally a saber-toothed tiger that is attacking him, but in his perception, in his implicit perception by his nervous system, he's perceiving that it's not safe right now. And so the shutdown is, in a sense, a flight response. I need to emotionally and psychologically get out of here. So I'm going to shut down this conversation, and I'm cognitively no longer available. I mean, that's the essence of stonewalling. Important for you to recognize that. Important for you to recognize that it is not in your interest to attempt to, find a battering ram and batter down the front door and try and get connection. It's simply not in your best interest because his prefrontal cortex is not processing information. There's no way, neurologically speaking, there's no way that he can have a constructive conversation with you. There's no way that he can problem solve with you. There's no way that he's going to empathize with you. So, in the moment, cut your losses, because you'll only be harming yourself if you push harder and try harder. That's super important. So I'm not asking you to feel sorry for the guy. I'm asking you to protect yourself from harming yourself more by insisting that we finish this conversation. Now, second thing is, and this is super important, this is the potential game changer for you. If you find within your heart and soul this impulse to push past and finish this conversation, hey, we need to talk this through, we're not going to bed until we finish this, sort of taking that verse from scripture, don't let the sun go down on your anger, and say, dude, we're going to finish this argument before we go to sleep. destructive. But if that's your impulse, hey, you know what? That's about you. That's information about you. That's about an attachment injury in your heart that is activating a threat response in you related to the fear of abandonment. Let me put that in a different way. If you're not able to allow him his time to re-regulate himself, but you insist on seeking connection with him, even while he is dysregulated, as manifest with the stonewalling, then that strongly suggests that you have an unhealed fear of abandonment, and that is contributing to the destructiveness of the relationship. For sure, he shouldn't be stonewalling. He needs to take responsibility for his dysregulation. He needs to go off and do some soul care, some self-care, some re-regulating of his nervous system. Totally, that's on him. But what's on you? If you're insisting on continuing the conversation, that's likely an indication that you've got some work to do on your heart and soul, healing not just the strain in the current relationship, but a previous attachment injury, a previous developmental injury from your story, from your background, that is actually impairing your ability to do constructive conflict resolution. In the Russell Healing Institute's Detox Your Marriage program, we are expert at doing that work, working with women to implement the change to heal the damage that they are experiencing in the marriage, in the relationship, and healing whatever precursors impairing their ability to be their best self in the marriage. We're very good at what we do. We're very efficient at what we do. We are masters, and we are helping women each week do that work, and they are eternally grateful for our help and our support, because we walk with the women to accomplish that healing. We're not just telling them what to do. We're actually walking with them and doing the transformation. If you're curious about that, I encourage you to click the link below. While you're at it, comment on this video, subscribe to this channel. There's a ton of awesome stuff on this channel. If you subscribe, you'll be doing two things. You'll be the first to find out about a new video on this channel, so you'll be in the front row, so to speak. You'll also be giving a gift to other women, because the way YouTube's algorithm works is subscription means other people are more likely to see this material. So other women in your situation are more likely to be helped. And so why not give that gift to a woman you don't even know? All right? So all the best in your marriage. We wish you the very best. And subscribe, comment, and reach out.